Welcome back. This is John Locke, and today I want to talk about sometimes you need to spend a little money in order to do SEO. Now, search engine optimization, what a lot of people think of when they hear SEO, is changing the content of the page, maybe building a couple links, and they think that that is the entirety of SEO. Now, those are definitely aspects of it, but there's a couple cases sometimes where you're going to need to invest a little bit of money. And to illustrate this, I'm going to give you an example from a client that's currently on my roster, and I see a situation that we're going to head into going into this second phase of work. Now, in the first phase of work, we moved them from not ranking anywhere competitively to getting in the top 10 on page 1 for most of their terms that they're trying to rank for. And the ones that they're not ranking in the top 10, they're like right outside it. So basically, they're in the top 10 for anything that they're trying to rank for. Here's the problem. The rest of page 1 of Google is third generation lead sites like Yelp and sites like that, and then other competitors with their own websites. And what I'm seeing is the ones that are at the very tippy top of the search results pages, their sites are considerably better. And the other thing that I see is part of their link profile is paid sites. And what I mean by that is not like they're paying for guest posting, but they are other third-party lead generation sites that Google would expect to see you getting a link from if you are doing this certain industry, okay? So the advice that I gave my client is that sometime in the very near future, what you're going to have to do, instead of necessarily spending all your money on link building or content or whatever, a couple things that you're going to have to do. You're going to have to improve the design of your site. That is one thing that I really see, because the sites that are at the tippy top, the 1 and 2 sites at the top of the search engine results, are very well designed sites, and they need to catch up. The reason for that is Google is using real user signals. Now, they're never going to come out and say this directly, but most people believe that they're using the Chrome browser and possibly Chrome on Android to get anonymized user signals. But one thing I can tell you with dead certainty is that over the last year and a half, maybe 2 years, but especially in 2020, what I have seen is sites that are well designed, well organized, visually appealing, that distinctively are objectively presented in a way that is more professional looking and better designed. These sites, more often than not, rise to the top of search engine results pages. And the reason for that is these user signals. People like these sites better. They can accomplish a goal on all these sites that are in the top 10, but the ones that rise to the top are the ones that are better designed. Now, another thing that I advise my client is that these other sites that are above you in the page 1 results, some of them have links, or most of them I should say. Almost all of them, they have links from some of these other third-party sites that are lead generation, where you pay to have a profile with a link back to your website. Now, this might not be something that they necessarily want to do. They didn't want to do it at first, but we did get them more revenue. So I'm hoping that they listen to this, because Google is looking for a pattern a lot of times. When you're doing SEO, you can't just do SEO for free and get to the upper echelon, because in a lot of cases, Google is looking at the pattern of your link profile. Now, since 2008, Google has wanted and expressly told people, hey, we want to rank the bigger brands. The big brands are over here in this bucket, and then all the mom and pop are like over here, and we're going to rank big brands. Now, characteristics of big brands is they are looking for leads in all the places that they can, because they know if they spend money on these lead generation sites that get traffic, that are well respected within the industry, where customers go to buy a product or a service, they know that they can find a selection there. So they expect big brands in any type of industry, and every industry has their own sites for this, but they expect people within your industry, whatever that is, to be on these websites. Now, this is what I told my client as well. You're going to have to put some money toward this because this is what Google looks at. This is one of the characteristics. Another thing that Google looks at as well is you are getting publicity, you're getting press, you're getting covered by news media, you are getting coverage from your local news scene, whatever that is. Whatever your industry news is in your scene, you're getting some coverage there. Now that you can get for free with a little bit of elbow grease. Now, one of the other things that you might end up paying for is a little bit of outreach, or you might do certain things that might be sponsorships like within your particular industry. If you notice this in the link profile of your competitors, and your competitors all have these, if your competitors all have well-designed sites, if your competitors are all getting press and PR and coverage from different places, or if they all have links from certain sites, or the vast majority of the sites ranking above you or ranking high, they have links from these certain sites, then you need to go and do likewise. And how you can find this out, every SEO tool probably has something like this, but I use Ahrefs, ahrefs.com. That is a site that I pay for to get link information, all ranking information, tracking information, things like this. But one of the things I can look at is the link profile of their competitors and my clients. So one thing I do is use what's called the link intersect tool on Ahrefs. And what I do is I look specifically at each site that's ranking in a substantial position and say, what sites are linking to that website that are not linking to my client's site? And then I can cross-reference between all that, and patterns emerge, and you start to see that, hey, 75% or 2/3 or whatever it is, 80% of the sites have links from this site, this site, this site. So then you know you have to go out and do likewise. You either have to get some of these premium links, or you have to use some elbow grease to do outreach, or you have to do whatever it takes to get these certain types of links. And again, I'm not talking about these types of links that you buy on these link services where they just write some article and put it on a private blog network or an article farm. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about lead generation, genuine PR, sponsorships within your community, and just elbow grease PR, appearing on podcasts, getting interviewed in your local press, in your local industry. And then, of course, the one thing I'm talking about, improving your site. And once you do all these things too, another suggestion that I made to this particular client was to invest in content, because one thing that I noticed was 67% of the sites that were ranking, they had blogs in industry news. So I said, you need to invest in hiring an employee or assigning someone from your team to curate news from your industry and write it up and put it in this blog, because Google, again, looks for patterns. And if they look at certain sites and they say people are accomplishing what they set out to get on this site, but people seem to be satisfied and they seem to have all these different patterns, such as, you know, they have links from all these different various sites, and they have a blog, and they have whatever else on their website, then you can deduce, like, hey, we can throw this into a pattern of sites that seem to satisfy users. Then we know if a site has all these characteristics, then it might be more likely to satisfy users, and they exhibit characteristics of a big brand trying to get leads in different places, like in social media, and they, you know, have links from prestigious sites within their industry where we expect to see them, and places where big brands would be looking to get leads. Plus they have other, you know, natural links from getting press and stuff like that. So, and they have good design, so they have good user signals, so everything matches up. The content, the links, the design, the UX, and the press coverage and all these things, and people are happy. So we're going to push that site higher in the search rankings. So again, a lot of people are going to think like, hey, all you really need to do SEO is SEO plugin if you're on WordPress, or an SEO module if you're on Drupal, and you need to change up the content a little bit, maybe throw some keywords in here and this and that. Google is much more sophisticated than that nowadays. Now, Bing is trailing a couple years behind Google, but Google itself is definitely sophisticated enough to where you can't really do these things like sprinkle the keywords. Keywords are important, and of course synonyms, things like this are important, but you have to do the actual work. And if you look like a big brand, walk like a big brand, satisfy users, have a good design, present yourself like a big brand, do all these things that big brands do, have a legit email address, have a LinkedIn company page, all these different things. And if you do all those things, then you're probably going to rank higher. And that's just the simple plain fact of it. So those are all things that I advise my clients to do, this particular client. And again, I want to sum it up. Sometimes you need to put a little money into it, because again, the biggest brands in your industry are going to throw money at some of these things, and they're going to invest in it because they know they're going to make it back anyway, and it's no big deal. They're going to break even at worst, and they're going to make money at, no matter what. So they're going to invest in these different channels. So you should probably do the same if the evidence is there that, hey, there's a correlation between that and rankings. My name is John Locke. My business is Lockdown Design and SEO. I'm here every other day or so. There is a couple day gap. I probably took about 4 days off this last time. But I'm here 3 days a week making videos on SEO, and I would encourage you to subscribe. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers. Got over 750 videos, and we are publishing all the time, giving you the knowledge from working class SEO. I make my money doing SEO for clients, not selling courses or anything like that. So please subscribe. And again, I'm down in the trenches every day sharing what I'm learning, okay? That's it for now. Until next time. Peace.